Labrie State Graham,
where the artist that was formerly known as Drake finally had his stupid, frivolous lawsuit thrown out, where he claims that this diss track defamed him and led to his harassment and suffering.
Oh, boo-hoo!
Unfortunately for Owlboy, the judge knows ball and acknowledged that Champagne Sloppy and Kung Fu Kenny were both insulting each other, as you do in a rap battle, and has granted a motion to dismiss this case. Today we're going to be talking about how and why
this case never had a chance in hell, brother.
Derapy.
Like the video.
Now, normally I'd take this opportunity to just point and laugh at Drake because he lost a rap battle, then took it to court, then lost again, and we will still laugh.
Oh, how we'll chuckle.
But I also want to talk a little bit about the judge's opinion, because when you look at why this is getting thrown out and what she had to write to justify it, it makes it all the more fun. The timeline begins with the fact that Drake initiated the conflict by dropping back-to-back diss tracks and push-ups and tailor-made freestyle. Now we know that Like That exists, but that was clearly just a light jab. Push-ups was made with the sole purpose to diss. He called the man a pipsqueak. It's in the paperwork. What I find really wonderful is the fact that the judge is referring to lyrics in Tailor-Made Freestyle where Drake is inviting Kendrick to call him names, and after going through 616 in LA and Euphoria, the judge highlights Family Matters, where Drake accuses Kendrick of abusing his partner and repeatedly speculates that Kendrick's children aren't his. Let the record show, this happened before Not Like Us. I also like how the initial timeline kind of ends with them having to talk about how Not Like Us won multiple Grammys and was performed at that most watched Super Bowl halftime show of all time.
Say Drake.
15 pages into this 38-page document, the judge writes about the fact that this recording of Not Like Us was in the midst of a rap battle, and that is essential to assessing its impact on a reasonable listener. And I think it was at this point where I realized just how silly all of this was. The judge having to even write this out and explain the fact that they were in the middle of a rap battle, and it kind of makes it difficult to see Not Like Us as just this standalone random mean thing that Kendrick did for no reason. But by far my favorite part of this judge's opinion, which is like my number one reason from the jump why this whole thing was absurd, is that they have to write word for word, bar for bar. Drake challenged Lamar to make the pedophilia accusations at issue using the artificially generated voice of deceased rapper Tupac. Drake goads Lamar. And this is where I feel like the judge gets real sassy with it. After including the lyrics where Drake himself as Tupac says, "Talk about him liking young girls, that's a gift from me." The judge writes, "It is in this context in which such lyrics as 'Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young' from the recording must be assessed. The similarity in the wording suggests strongly that this line is a direct callback to Drake's lyrics in the prior song." The judge is literally like, in show business, that's what we call a callback. So Drake's team actually tried to argue that Not Like Us is so big, in fact, that many people that have heard it would not know the context of Tailor-Made Freestyle, which is stupid for a number of reasons. One, the tracks literally respond to one another and reference one another. Not Like Us references Family Matters, which references push-ups, and it goes on and on like that. Two, we're talking about a reasonable listener. Who on earth would hear a track like Not Like Us and not be like, damn, what did Drake do to make him so mad? Three, all the other tracks were and are still public. And four, it was not just the song that was everywhere, it was the existence of the beef. Drake's team tried to argue that it's not just the meanie head words, but republication of the mean words and UMG's role in it being spread so widely, to which the judge basically said, it's not Kendrick or UMG's fault that the track went so hard. You can't force people to listen to the song, and regardless, it's just non-actionable opinion, whether it was published or republished. Also, the court low-key laughs at the idea that because people talk about stuff online, that means they believe everything they heard in the song. You can find people that believe Drake is a freak.
Easy.
And you can also find people who believe that he has never done a single wrong thing in his life. Presenting Instagram comments and tweets to the court to prove that somebody's been defamed is just lame. I also love the patronizing tone of this bit right here as well. Although the accusation that plaintiff is a pedophile is certainly a serious one, the broader context of a heated rap battle with incendiary language and offensive accusations hurled by both participants would not incline the reasonable listener to believe that Not Like Us imparts verifiable facts about the plaintiff. So what we're saying is, it's just Kendrick's opinion. Another really crazy thing that I just found out because I just hit page 28 of this is that Drake's team actually tried to use him name dropping Millie Bobby Brown in The Heart Part 6, where he says that I'd never look twice at no teenager and I'm only effing with Whitney's and not Billy Bobby Brown's. Drake's team brought that line up. Basically as a way of saying, well, since they're going back and forth about these things, Drake obviously is responding seriously to the fact that Kendrick Lamar is trying to expose him as this diddler. And in this document, in this court document, we get court takes judicial notice of the fact that Millie Bobby Brown is a well-known actress and that she has given interviews stating that she and Drake formed a friendship when she was 14 years old and he was 32 years old.
Expose him! Expose him!
First of all, the fact that this judge had to endure the auditory torture chamber that is The Heart Part 6 is already enough for them to lose the case. But why would you expect this judge to hear this?
This Epstein angle was the shit I expected.
And not expect them to come to the conclusion that, like, neither of these niggas are serious. But more importantly, context matters. At every turn, the owl suits tried to say certain bars proved Kendrick was trying to insinuate he had concrete evidence of criminal behavior. But the court would just turn around and say, but Drake said they dug up the bones in that excavation. They're doing the same thing.
It's a rap battle.
The last bit of the suit is about bots, streaming, manipulation, and the court essentially says your evidence is insufficient. Most of your evidence is from randoms on the Bird app or some cave in Canada. Also, even if they did use covert practices, which the court doesn't agree they did, nothing was done to actually harm a consumer. People were not scammed. They didn't lose money. No damage was actually done. Bird Boys couldn't prove a thing. The court says a small sample of users' possible experience, communicated through tweets and other anonymized commentary, fails to establish a plausible inference that UMG manipulated listeners into streaming Not Like Us instead of Drake's music. So what's the moral of this story? Not Like Us is still a banger. We already knew that, but Drake tried to run to the courtroom to prove it wasn't, and he lost. There is no red button, there is no redemption or salvation. You lost outside and you lost inside. The streets and the suits couldn't save you. You got baked, buddy. Just pack it up. You weren't defamed, you weren't harassed, he just made the better songs. The very last bit of this document says, at most, the allegations suggest that UMG engaged in practices to make Not Like Us seem more popular than it actually was, without connecting that activity to any consumer harm. So the court doesn't believe that they did, and even if they did, it would be like suing a movie studio for saying they have the #1 movie in the world. Who cares? The case was dumb, Drake is dumb, he wasted a ton of money on this, and I hope he feels bad. I'm very excited, however, to see how his fans try to spin this into a victory. We might have to spin the block tomorrow on r/Drizzy and see how they're coping. But in my opinion, this is simply a win for rap, freedom of speech, and better music prevailing. That's all I got for you. Love you. Mean it. Spread the bread. Enjoy the outro.
What's up with these Roni ass trying to see Compton? They just can hit me, fuck them all and they mama. How many options when they got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm finna pass on this body of John Stockton. Beach wasn't had the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show.